Harley dealers sell dreams, usually attached to a $40,000 price tag. But hidden in the back lot are the black sheep, bikes everyone ignores. These models collect dust because they were too weird, too quiet, or simply misunderstood. But for you, this is a gold mine. We found 10 genuine Milwaukee machines with massive engines and low miles that you can steal for pennies on the dollar. Do not pay a dime for any bike until you see this critical list. Number 10, Harley Davidson Street 750. We are going to start this list with the motorcycle that every traditional Harley rider loves to hate. The Street 750 is the absolute pariah of the lineup. Launched back in 2014, this was Harley's desperate attempt to capture the hip, urban market and get younger riders onto the brand. It was liquid-cooled, it sounded more like a sewing machine than a thunderstorm, and worst of all, for the die-hard purists, it was built in India for the global market and Kansas City for the US. Dealers treat these bikes like radioactive waste. If you ride one to a biker rally, the old guys will look at you like you showed up in a Prius. But here is the reality that the haters are ignoring. It is a fantastic city bike. The Revolution X engine is actually a hidden gem. It is zippy, it revs high, and unlike an air-cooled Sportster 883, it won't roast your inner thighs when you are stuck in stop-and-go traffic on a hot July afternoon. It handles surprisingly well because it weighs significantly less than anything else in the showroom. It is nimble, quick off the line, and genuinely fun if you stop comparing it to a Road King. Because the big twin crowd refuses to touch them, the prices on the used market have completely collapsed. You can find these machines with almost 0 miles, often used for riding academies and then dumped by the fleet for $2,500 to $3,500. Think about that. For the price of a used Honda Grom or a beat-up scooter, you get a highway-capable Harley Davidson that is reliable, cheap to insure, and perfect for commuting. Ignore the stigma. Peel the badges off if you have to, but ride it like you stole it, because at that price, you basically did. If you've been here a while, you already know what Iron Pulse is about. We drop the essentials, old school, rider-made style. The cap, for long miles and windy days. The T, for the garage, the ride, and everywhere in between. The mug, for early starts and late nights planning the next run. No hype, just the mark. 20% off right now. Link in the description down below. The Street 750 is cheap because it's small, but our next bike is cheap because it has a reputation for blowing up, unless you know the one simple mechanical fix that makes it bulletproof. Number 9, Twin Cam 88 Touring Models. If you walk into a dealership and ask about an early 2000s Road King or Electra Glide, the salesman will visibly wince. He might even try to steer you toward a newer bike immediately. Why? Because of two terrifying words: cam tensioners. The early twin cam 88 engines, produced from 1999 to 2006, had spring-loaded cam chain tensioners. The shoes on these tensioners were made of a plastic material that was prone to disintegrating. If they failed, they sent plastic shards into the oil pump, starving the engine of oil and destroying it instantly. Because of this known grenade, dealers are terrified of taking them on trade, and when they do, they price them to move fast. However, this fear creates the single greatest mechanic special in the Harley world. The Twin Cam 88 is actually a sweeter, smoother engine than the bigger engines that replaced it. It has a shorter stroke, which means it loves to rev and feels sportier. The fatal flaw is essentially a $600 fix. You upgrade to the hydraulic tensioner kit from the later models, or you switch to gear drive cams, which eliminates the chain entirely. Once you do that, these engines are bulletproof and will run for 100,000 miles without a hiccup. The deal here is astronomical. You can find full-dress Electra Glides and Road Kings from this era for $5,000 to $6,000. That's a full touring bike with hard bags, a windshield, and cruise control for the price of a beat-up Sportster. Don't be scared of the tensioners. Use them as a negotiating tool. Ask the seller if they have been done. If not, knock $1,000 off the price, fix it yourself in a weekend, and ride a classic tourer for peanuts. We are revealing the secrets dealers don't want you to know. If you like saving money on motorcycles and learning the truth about these machines, click that like button right now. It helps us keep digging for these deals. The Twin Cam 88 is a classic, but our next bike was so futuristic that the traditional Harley customer literally didn't know what to do with it. It was a partnership with German legends that resulted in the most misunderstood muscle bike in history. Number 8, Harley Davidson V-Rod. In 2001, Harley did the unthinkable. They partnered with Porsche to build an engine. The V-Rod was unlike anything that had ever rolled out of Milwaukee. It was liquid-cooled, it had overhead cams, it revved to 9,000 RPM, and the gas tank was hidden under the seat. The frame was hydroformed aluminum, looking like liquid silver. The traditional Harley crowd hated it. They called it fake. They said it sounded like a metric cruiser. Dealers struggled to sell them for 15 years. They sat on showroom floors collecting dust while guys walked right past them to buy air-cooled Softails instead. But the reality is that the V-Rod is a drag bike in a tuxedo. It makes 120 horsepower out of the box. It destroys almost any other Harley in a straight line. The engineering is bulletproof because, well, it's a Porsche engine. It doesn't leak oil, it doesn't rattle apart at highway speeds, and it provides a rush of acceleration that an air-cooled V-twin simply cannot match. It is refined, fast, and aggressive. Now that it has been discontinued, it is starting to become a cult classic, but the prices are still shockingly low compared to its performance. You can find early V-Rods, specifically the VRSCA models with the solid wheels and anodized aluminum bodywork, for $5,000 to $7,000. The Night Rod specials are more expensive because they look meaner, but the standard silver frame models are dirt cheap. If you want to annoy everyone at the local bike night by blowing their doors off, buy a V-Rod. It is the best performance engine Harley ever sold, and they killed it because it was too good for their core audience. The V-Rod was fast, but our next entry is the black sheep of the Dyna family. It is the plainest, most boring-looking bike Harley made, which is exactly why you should buy it if you want to build a wheelie monster. Number 7, Harley Davidson Dyna Superglide. In the world of Dynas, everyone wants the cool bikes. They want the street bob with the ape hangers, or the lowrider with the dual gauges, or the wide glide with the chopper front end. Those bikes have style, they have chrome, they have attitude. The base model Superglide has a speedometer and a seat. It usually came with a boring silver engine finish instead of black or chrome. It had a weird football air cleaner. It looked like a fleet vehicle. Dealers can't get excited about them, so they price them at rock bottom just to clear the floor space. Here is the secret. It is the exact same bike as the expensive ones. It has the exact same frame, the same suspension geometry, and the same twin cam engine as a street bob that costs $3,000 more. The Superglide is the ultimate blank canvas. Because it lacks the expensive trim and heavy chrome fenders, it is often lighter and handles better. It is the perfect starting point for a custom build. While a Dyna Street Bob might command $8,000 or more because of the Sons of Anarchy tax, you can find a Superglide of the same year for $5,500. Don't pay for someone else's style. Buy the boring Superglide, strip off the ugly parts, and use the money you save to upgrade the suspension and cams. You end up with a faster, better bike for less money. The Superglide is a blank canvas, but our next bike was a factory custom that went horribly wrong. It has a gas tank that looks like a surfboard and a rear fender that makes no sense, but the build quality is undeniable. Number 6, Harley Davidson Softail Deuce. The Deuce was Harley's bold attempt at a modern chopper in the early 2000s. It was a premium bike designed to look custom right off the showroom floor. It featured a stretched gas tank that looked sleek and long, a weird clipped rear fender, and a thick chrome strut that couldn't support saddlebags easily. It is a polarizing bike. You either love the flowing lines or you think it looks like a stretched out worm. Because of the unique rear end, you can't easily swap seats or add luggage, which makes it a hard sell on the used market. Dealers often sit on these for months because they don't fit the club style trend that is popular right now. But look closer, and you will see it is one of the most beautifully finished Harleys ever made. The chrome quality on the Deuce was a step above the standard Softails. It has a solid rear wheel and a 21-inch front wheel that looks fantastic rolling down the road. It rides smooth, long, and low, with the counterbalanced twin-cam B engine eliminating the vibrations. Because it isn't cool right now, it is cheap. You can pick up a fuel-injected twin-cam 88 or 96 Deuce for $5,000. That is a lot of chrome for the money. If you just want a cruiser to look good at the bar and ride on Sundays, the Deuce is a steal. Just don't try to turn it into a touring bike, or you will be fighting that rear fender forever. The Deuce was weird, but our next bike was a total flop. It was supposed to replace the V-Rod, but it looked like a spaceship and cost as much as a car. Now, It's dropping in value faster than a lead balloon. Number 5. Harley Davidson FXDR 114. In 2019, Harley released the FXDR. It was a power cruiser with massive air intakes, a huge 240mm rear tire, and a composite tail section that looked like it came off a fighter jet. It was aggressive, it was fast, and it was priced at over $21,000. And nobody bought it. Traditionalists hated the plastic. Sport riders hated the weight. It was an answer to a question nobody asked. Dealers were stuck with these brand new units for years, heavily discounting them just to get them out the door. But if you look past the sales failure, the bike is actually a monster. It has the Milwaukee 8114 engine with massive torque, 119 foot-pounds to be exact. It has an aluminum swing arm and inverted forks, meaning it handles surprisingly well for a bike with a fat tire. It is a drag strip weapon that can actually take a corner. This is the depreciation king. You can find low-mileage examples for $11,000 to $13,000. That is nearly 50% off the sticker price in just a few years. You are getting a modern, high-performance Milwaukee 8 engine for the price of an old Dyna. If you want a modern muscle bike and don't care about the plastic complaints from the old guard, the FXDR is the best performance value in the modern Harley lineup. The FXDR styling is controversial. Do you think it looks cool and futuristic, or does it look like a plastic mess? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from the deal hunters. Have you ever bought a bike for peanuts that turned out to be a gem? Tell us your best robbery story in the comments below. Let's see who got the best deal. Number 4. Harley Davidson Electra Glide Police Special. Dealers get these from police auctions. They are usually white or black and white. They have pucks on the saddlebags instead of latches. They have weird red switches on the handlebars where the sirens used to be. And they usually have a solo seat sitting on an air bladder. Civilians are scared of them. It's been beaten on, they say. The wiring is a mess. It has high idle hours. Dealers struggle to sell them because they don't look like the chrome-laden street glides on the showroom floor. Here is the reality. Police bikes are maintained better than any civilian bike. They get oil changes every 2,000 miles. And here is the secret. They often have better engines. They have upgraded charging systems, oil coolers, and heavy-duty clutches. The puck latches on the bags are actually easier to use than the civilian ones. You can open them with gloves on while riding. The Solo Air Ride seat is practically a suspension seat. It is the most comfortable seat Harley ever made. This is the ultimate hack. You can buy a 5-year-old police Electra Glide with 20,000 miles for $8,000 to $10,000. A civilian version of the same bike would be $15,000. Buy the cop bike. Swap the red and blue lights for fog lights. Enjoy the heavy-duty upgrades. It is the smartest purchase you can make if you want to tour on a budget. The cop bike is practical, but our next bike is the sporty one. It was built to race in Europe, failed in America, and is now one of the most fun machines you can buy for the canyons. Number 3. Harley Davidson X1200. In 2008, Harley looked at the Ducati Monster and said, "We can do that." They took a Sportster, jacked up the suspension, put on inverted forks, added massive brakes, and tuned the engine to 90 horsepower. It was inspired by the legendary XR750 flat track racer. The American market responded with a collective meh. It was too tall for short riders. It wasn't fast enough to beat a Japanese sport bike. It didn't have enough chrome for the cruiser guys. It sat in showrooms for years unwanted. But for the right rider, it is the best handling Sportster ever made, period. It has aluminum swing arms, dedicated oil cooling for the heads, and ergonomics that actually let you lean into a corner without scraping hard parts. It is a legitimate canyon carver that still has that V-twin soul. Because it was a sales flop, it is rare, but it is undervalued. You can find XR1200s for $5,000 to $6,000. As the hooligan racing scene gets bigger and people realize how good these bikes actually are, they are starting to climb in value. The window is closing. If you want a Harley that can actually turn and stop, buy the XR. It will embarrass a lot of bigger bikes in the twisties. The XR is cool, but sometimes you just want the basics. Our next bike is the stripped-down version of the most popular bike in America. Dealers hide it because it doesn't have a radio to upsell you on. Number 2. Harley Davidson Electra Glide Standard. The Street Glide is the best-selling motorcycle in America. It has a touchscreen, GPS, Bluetooth, and fancy paint. The Electra Glide Standard has a hole where the radio goes. It has no screen. It has no cruise control on older models. It has polished aluminum instead of chrome. It is the poverty spec touring bike. Salesmen hate showing it because they can't upsell you on the infotainment package or the expensive paint. But ask yourself, do you really need a touchscreen on a motorcycle? The Electra Glide Standard is pure touring. It has the same frame, the same bags, and the same wind protection as the $30,000 bikes. But because it lacks the infotainment and extra wiring, it is significantly lighter. It feels more agile. Also, that hole in the dash, it's perfect for a glove box to store your phone or an aftermarket stereo that costs $200 and sounds better than the stock Harley one. Anyway, the deal is undeniable. You can find late model Milwaukee 8 Electra Glide Standards for $11,000 to $12,000. A comparable street glide would be $16,000. You are saving $4 grand just by giving up a radio you couldn't hear at highway speeds anyway. Be a purist. Buy the Standard. Use the money you save to ride to Sturgis and back 3 times. Do you like this video? Click that like button, and if you want to support us even more, become a member. Have early access to the newest videos. And finally, the #1 Harley dealers can't sell. This is the bike that is literally dime a dozen. It is the entry point for millions and the exit point for smart buyers who know exactly what they are looking for. Number 1. Harley Davidson Sportster 883 Iron. We end with the bike that floods the market, the Sportster 883. Iron is the quintessential starter bike. Everyone buys one, rides it for a year, gets bored of the power, and trades it in for a big twin. Because of this cycle, the market is absolutely flooded with them. Dealers are swimming in used Sportsters. They have rows of them, and they hate high-mileage ones. If a Sportster has over 20,000 miles, a dealer considers it unsellable. They assume the previous owner beat on it. They will wholesale it immediately rather than put it on the floor. But the reality is that the Evolution Sportster engine is an anvil. It is widely considered one of the most reliable engines in motorcycle history. It uses hydraulic lifters, so there are no valve adjustments. It is air-cooled and simple. A Sportster with 30,000 miles is just getting broken in. It has decades of life left in it. This is the bottom of the barrel in price, but the top of the heap in value. You can find high-mileage Sportster irons for $3,000 to $3,500, sometimes even less in the winter months. Buy a high-mileage Sportster, ride it for 5 years, sell it for exactly what you paid for it. It is free motorcycling. It is the smartest way to get into the Harley ecosystem without losing a dime. And with the endless aftermarket, you can turn it into a chopper, a cafe racer, or a scrambler for pennies. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And if you want to support our channel and have early access on the newest videos, become a member. And don't forget to like this video